Hey, everybody. Welcome to King Conversation. I am Mark Wiggins once again with King Conversation for the month of April. Welcome aboard. We have a great special co-host tonight, good friend of mine coming live from Baltimore. Be More Stand Up. You'll love this brother. He's got a lot to say, and it's a good space, good headspace, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. This is downright good brother. So we're going to talk about the show. But first, before we get started, I want to talk about, if you followed me all of the month of April, or remember the month of April, I talked about I was doing a 30-day reset challenge with Arbonne. Arbonne was some natural vegan style products that my friend Michelle Rivera was in, and she was a sponsor for the show. I know a few of you took the challenge with me in the 30 days, and let me just be clear, it was challenging as all get out. I did struggle. I did struggle early. I did with all the sugar withdrawals and the headaches, but I got to the green cocktail thing. The green cocktail thing was the business. I could do that and continue to do it. I think that's really, really good. The teas, let's just say the teas move something. That's what they do. They move something. That was a gut check. It was a gut cleanse, and it was really good. So definitely, I recommend it after going through the 30 days. I think it's excellent. I will probably do it again, maybe third quarter, and just try to change the diet. It wasn't about a whole dietary change, but it made you more cognizant of what you were eating and how you did it. So, grilled over fried, or less bread versus, more salad, whatever. These are things that help us. So anyway, I want to thank Arbonne for that, and Michelle for being on us in our magazine as well. Make sure you follow up with that. Also, the Scented Beard. The Scented Beard is the sponsor of the show. The Scented Beard is a new beard treatment. It's a little ointment stuff, whatever. And I don't really have a beard, but it's a little something down here that helps, that needs some help. And you want to keep it fresh, keep it smelling clean. And the Scented Beard is what you want to get. So make sure you hit the link in the show notes and go check out the Scented Beard. And it's a good product. Next up, Off the Bench Magazine. This show is brought to you by Off the Bench Magazine. It is the spot. It is the lifestyle motivational magazine that is editor-in-chief. As you see, my name, Mark Wiggins, is what I do. This magazine is awesome. We are definitely almost halfway through our second year. The month of May, which is my birthday month, shouts out. Again, the calendar is open. I take Cash App, Bitcoin, and dinners. Pick a day. I got 31 of them. Pick one and make it yours. That's all I'm saying to the folks out here, let you know. And but that's a big deal. So the big issue coming out in May, look forward to that. But make sure you subscribe to the magazine. It is what we do. And lastly, we talked about the new tickets venture that OTB is involved with. We are partnering with Lime, Less is More Events. We are now ticket brokering. So make sure you go like us on Facebook at OTB Events. I'm dropping shows a lot. We, coming down the road, we got Mike Epps coming. We got Dave Chappelle coming to the area. So you want to get that in whatever in your area. If you don't see something I have, hit me up. We can probably get it for you. So enough of the commercials. Let's get to the business. Coming to the stage, my man, Dr. Mike Dorsey. What's up, Dr. Mike Dorsey? What's happening, bro?
What's going on, man? I need some of that Scented Beard. I need some of that.
Man, I'm going to get you a sample. Let you try it out.
Man.
Yeah,
I've been actually, you didn't ask all this, but I've been, I have a mutual friend of ours. She does the whole bedroom candy thing. And so I've been using the bedroom candy. It's not just the toys. It's also lifestyle products. So I use that beard stuff, but I'm always trying to figure out what's the right one for me. So
because you really have a beard. I have something that just I don't want to shave on the bottom. And it's gray, and the women love it. So I'm gonna leave it there because that's what they. Oh my God, you're gray, absolutely. Because if this grows out, Mike, I'm telling you, it's like my daddy. It'll be ghost white. It'd be ghost white. Now be some patches because it was leaving me, but it'd be ghost white. So I'm not going to. Listen. So Mike, listen. This is the first time on the show. Tell the people who you are, what you do, and what you got going on.
All right, everybody. Well, as our illustrious host, Mark, said, first of all, I just counted a privilege and honor just to hang out with him. I'm glad he still keeps my phone number in his phone because Mark is the man. So thank you, brother, for just thinking of me and just keeping me on your mind, man. I am here in Baltimore with my wife of, Sherelle and I will have been married for 12 years come this month, May. Well, we're not quite there, but May. So we have a 10-year-old son, Mike Jr., and we live here in Baltimore, as was mentioned earlier. No, all of us are not cast members on The Wire or there's a new movie out. We own the city. We are not all. We're not all about that life. At least on the surface. Now, if you pull me there, because I'm from Baltimore, something in the air, but we're not all about it. We don't show that all the time.
We just say, Mike, you can pray with me, but just don't play with me, right?
I'm
That's
just
what we
saying,
doing right
man.
here.
You from Cleveland, right? So you understand.
Cleveland,
man.
Ohio. I understand.
Yeah,
Cleveland.
you understand.
That's what's Mark, tell us about your show Headspace. Tell about your show on Headspace.
So, man, let me tell you something. During the pandemic, we had no choice but to sit in our houses and just consume so much stuff, right? Not only physical food and all that stuff, but just the news, the events of the pandemic, right? And one of the things I was noticing is my Facebook page just has so many different. I'm in so many different circles. And it was amazing, though, that everybody seemed to be talking at each other and not to each other. Especially when the Freddie Gray situation happened. Not Freddie Gray. Oh, shoot. Tip of my tongue. You know what I'm talking about. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Not Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray was earlier than that.
That was early Baltimore, right? Oh.
You know what I'm talking
blank
about.
And it's bad.
Yeah, but
I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
Minneapolis. We had the whole with the number 45, the president, all that stuff that was happening with him, and everybody was just kind of taking their sides. Nobody wanted to just take time to listen and fully understand another person's point of view. And so I just felt led to say, you know what, I would go on Facebook, do a live here and there, or I would make a post that kind of would just say, look, let's consider this, let's consider that. And I was finding that a lot of people in my network were appreciative of that, because they were like, I never really thought of it that way. I never really considered that. And so that was when Headspace with Dr. Mike was birthed. Over the pandemic, I finished my dissertation for my doctorate. And so I was like, you know what, I was kind of relishing that. And a friend of mine said, what if you name it Headspace with Dr. Mike? And I was like, you know what, let's do it. So we do a weekly radio show where we kind of just take different topics and allow different points of view to come out. Even though I may sit on an issue on a certain point of view, at the end of the day, I am open to listening to your point of view, because I have to recognize that not everybody sees the world through the same lens that I do, and vice versa, right? And so that's kind of what the mission and purpose of Headspace with Dr. Mike is. And yeah, we're really excited about it. So
yeah, man, it's a great show. I listened to it often. I was on it one time. We called me in. I think it was during pandemic. I came on early in the game because when the call comes out from a certain group of folk, you respond. When the back call comes out, and again, Mike is one of my speaker friends from MIC days, and I know y'all, Mark, how many friends I got a rack of them, and they're all doing amazing things. So when they call or the call goes out, I've had everybody on. I had Kendall on back in the day. Aisha comes on every now and again. She came on during pandemic where I was just doing I had that same problem. Like I was like, I don't know what to say at this point. There was I had no words. I know what I was feeling. And I kept saying, God was having me say something. I was like, God, say something. I was like, I ain't got nothing to say. Say something. I ain't got nothing to say. And it finally was, you know what? But I got at least 50 friends who do. And that's when I started doing the live off the bench, live at home edition. And it started like you did. It was like, let's talk. And from there, people coming on left and right. Kept on left and right. But it was a great week and a half. Yeah. Haven't done it again, but it was a lot of work.
Oh, that's all right.
You definitely
you'll definitely be coming back on, man. We got to get that set up, man.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for it. I am all for it. So what else you got working on? You have any books out or anything, do you?
Man, we are working on that
PhD for a couple of years.
Man, you know what? We got to get it done. I'm working on those. There's a couple things that I'm working on. One is, my one click. I still got to get that. Man, it got to a point where I started feeling like a fraud. I'm going to be real in that I had this concept of getting on the roller coasters after Biggest Loser and that sort of thing. And, I ended up gaining the weight back, man, gained every single ounce that I lost on that TV show back. And it was one of those things where I was like, how do I go ahead and write that book, right? And we all know that all that was Satan just trying to keep that message out. And so now it's just a matter of me being intentional about it. So look out. I'm hoping within the next 6 to 8 months, I want to get that one click out. And then also, the Headspace has afforded me an opportunity. I have a segment every show called Heads Up, and I basically just take a 6 to 7 minute motivational minute, and I actually have been keeping track of them. I'm looking for the notebook here, and I just the other day got a bunch of them transcribed, and so I'm going to work on kind of getting that out as my first piece of merch. So I'm hoping to get that out pretty soon too. So you'll be one of the first to know,
Yeah.
man.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, we've been with you. Well, I've been with you on the journey all the way around. And, we support as kings, that's what we got to do, right? It's never really about the failure portion. It's about when we're getting back up, right? How are we going to get back to it? And you first talked about the one click when I did my off the bench in Baltimore. You were there for that and talked about your one. Man, you killed that. Actually, you know what? I found that video. I was like, what? I mean, the whole Baltimore thing. I said, man, I need to play that, man. That was up. And my dude that was there, Bubba Grimes, man, he passed away during. I mean, it was sad. During the pandemic, he passed away. And
get out of here.
Yeah, he did, man. He did. Yeah. So that was kind of rough there for a little while because, dude, he was the reason I was doing these in the first place. I had no pull to that. He was like, Slim, we can do this, and all I hear that voice. And so when I do it now, it's kind of like,
sorry to hear that.
No, thank you, brother. It was a rough one. It was definitely, but he was that. So I found that video. So I had to go dust it off and put it on a throwback because you destroyed the stage as usual. All my friends can speak. I don't know about your friends, but all my friends can speak. So I don't ever worry about that. But you did talk about that one click. And I'm OTB magazine is with you. You need us to do something, support that. Let me know. We're here for that because King has to support Kings. But you talked about that, again, we on this platform in this space, we try and encourage other men. That's just point blank period. What when you were dealing with the challenge of that and coming to that realization that, you know what, I've gone from where I was back to what I was before and to fight back, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you going in that space?
My family, man. My family. Listen, I never thought that I would be in a situation where I cared about somebody more than myself. Outside of my parents, of course, but my mom has my dad, so I mean, there's so far I will go, but my mom's, my mom and my parents are taken care of. But when I got married, I didn't think that, like, the traveling, man. Before we were getting married, I was like, man, I want to be gone all the time, blah blah blah. And Terrell was like, you don't want to be home, like, she wasn't understanding that. And it got to a point where when Making the Count died down, man, it was almost like I was home more, and I actually enjoyed it because I had somebody to be home with, right? And and so then the bigger piece of it was, I'll never forget, man. It was a few years ago. I was laying on the bed watching TV with little Mike, and he was laying watching. He liked to lay on my chest, and all of a sudden he said something to me. He patted my belly and said, "You're going to leave me if you don't take care of your belly." And I was like, "What? Like, how do you know this?" But he said, "You're going to leave me." He actually was crying. I was like, "Dude, why are you crying?" He said, "Because you're going to leave me if you don't take care of your belly." And that really did something to me, man. That was a game changer for me. It was one of those, like, you know what? I can go ahead and try to ignore. I can go ahead and try to act like nothing's wrong. But at the end of the day, I have something and someone or someone's to live my life for, and so that was the game changer for me. And so I did, I'm on a journey. It's a lot shorter, it takes a lot longer than it does when you're on Biggest Loser, of course. But what, I'm feeling healthier along the way. The show was great in itself, but it was, you're not going to take care of years and years worth of issues in a matter of minutes, right? I didn't realize how much trauma I had in my life. I didn't realize how much self-concept issues I had. I didn't realize how much self-confidence issues I had. I didn't realize how many insecurities I had along the way. It wasn't so much that I like food so much. It was that I use food to cover up anything that I'm dealing with. So if it's, a lot of times, if it's stress, if it's something I'm struggling with, man, food is the easy thing to go to, man. And so becoming aware of that has been a big part of the process.
That's what's up. Yeah, that is huge, man. Again, you speak a lot of truth, and a lot of us out here dealing with that, especially with the health issues and we facing in our community. And you pile it on with other issues and stressors, and am I getting home tonight? All of that. You know what I'm saying? And where do we go to unload this? Where do we go to download this or just drop it? I need you to. I need you to do anything with it per se, but I just kind of need to say it. I need to say it. I
Nah,
need you not to
man.
judge me. I need not to judge me. I need to just go, bro, I hear you. And sometimes that's going to be enough for that moment. You know what I'm saying? But where do we go? How do we handle that
Man,
part, Mike? How do we deal with that?
man, well, you gotta recognize it. Like at the end of the day, at some point, you have to make the decision that this is what we're
Mm,
doing, right? Look, my wife had to go home. My father-in-law passed away in January from COVID.
condolences.
And
Hmm.
thank you for that, brother. And before that, about a year before, he was afforded kidney transplant. He had a kidney transplant, and maybe it was a little longer than the year before. And so Shavella had to leave to go, of course, to go while he was getting his transplant and stuff and be there for that. And I was terrified because I was going to be home with Mike. And it wasn't that I was scared of raising him or nothing like that. True story, man. I was worried that I was worried I was going to have a heart attack or something and no one's going to be there to take care of him.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
Mm,
That right there, man,
hmm.
was something because it got to a point where once, as you know, man, once we hit that 40 mark, our bodies starts doing things that it wasn't doing back before 40s, right? Like we could kind of
Right.
bounce back from things. Nah, man, jet lag, it takes forever to recover from jet lag, right? Like it's
Right.
if I just do a walk around the neighborhood, if it was a power walk, man, I feel it the next day. And so it was one of those things where I was terrified, and it got to a point where um then I had a dream one night. I had a dream that I walked into my grandparents' house, and none of my grandparents aren't alive anymore. My aunt's not alive anymore, and the only people in the house were them. It
Mm,
wasn't my mom wasn't there, my dad wasn't there, my cousins weren't there. It was just them. My uncle was there, and he's passed away. And I'll never forget. They said, "You might as well just come on in. You're
oh my
ready to come
gosh.
on in." And I was hesitant. I was holding back at the door, and they were like, "Nah, he's not ready to come on in. He's not ready to come on in."
Mm,
And I was about to step through the door, and then all of a sudden they said, "No, don't come on in. You're not ready for this." And that's when I woke up. And that dream scared me to no
mm,
end. And so between that and knowing I was going to be home with Mike, I said, "You know what? I got to do better. Like I got to do this." But at the end of the day, I had to make the decision for myself. You got to make decisions for yourselves. You have to find that thing. You have to find that why, and you have to move towards that why. And you don't let anybody else tell you what your why is, because that sounds good, but you know what your why is, right? And you have to tap into it. And until you tap into it, it's going to be futile. You got to know what your why is, and the why changes through the years. So
hmm. Hmm. That's a good point. And again, I think we as men sometimes are afraid to tap into that why. And I like what you just said. Sometimes even adjust that why. It was why I got here, but it's not why I need to get over there. And we
that's right.
don't modify it. We stick with something, and it's outdated. And then we still with outdated models, which kind of keeps us comfortable, right? It keeps us in a space where we won't try to heal. We won't try to work on relationships. Guilty.
Yeah.
We won't try to do something different. Guilty. But we at some point you have to go. Mm, what are we gonna do? Because this ain't
Yeah.
it. We got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to get done, and you want to make sure you're here for whatever, however long God has you here. Can't get past that
That's
one,
right.
but but in the meantime, we're gonna work to do what we do. But like I say, I just don't feel like me as kings don't have. Um, Let me rephrase that. I think we do have it. I think when it comes to these conversations, we are concerned about the clap back, and it ain't always from the men. Our clap back from our female counterparts is also kind of harsh as well. You share it, and they're like, "Well, it's about time." Hey, wait. That's not what I need right now.
Let me
And
have
then
my
we say, "You
moment.
know what?" And then, yeah, you know what? Let me shut this back down.
Mm-hmm.
And there we go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that part too. But one of the things I did find out over the last few years, Mike, is that especially after I had divorced, I had this whole list of stuff that said I would not do, my non-negotiables, right?
Okay.
And I would deliver my non-negotiables, and they were like harsh. Like I'm not. This one lady said to me, "Well, why is it so difficult?" And all I could say to her was, "Because I never got to say it before. I'm saying it right now." So it's just like, I'm gonna hold this list, and you can't.
You're reclaiming your time.
I'm taking my time. Right. I get the time back from the man from Minnesota. Yes, I'm taking it back. so over time, what I got to recognize is, you know what? First of all, the list was trash and it wasn't realistic, but the thought that I never got to say these things was a problem. And that was a Mark issue. Mark had to now be able to say it. And, you know, I'm going to deal with the consequences. This is where I am. This is what I'm going to stand for. And this is what I'm not standing for. You either ride, no, you're not. And I think when I got to that position of power and recognize, well, that's actually pretty powerful. We do it in every other area of our life, Mike.
Yeah.
Every other area except for the one that matters the most, and that's dealing with us.
Man, but we were cultured to do that though. Like we were cultured.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me.
Men don't cry. Men don't show emotion. Men don't act this way. Men don't do that. And what's funny is teaching emotional intelligence. One of the things that I found was emotional intelligence became that thing. They started realizing that emotional intelligence was actually what makes leaders be successful, is how they're able to manage and control their emotions, right? And this was pivotal in, for instance, the glass ceiling break-in and all that stuff, because for years we were told that men aren't emotional, but that's a lie. Men are very emotional. The whole yelling people, cussing people out, that's emotion, right?
That's emotion.
But we were told that we're not emotional. So whenever an emotion came on, what happened? Stop that crying. Stop that crying, boy. Don't let somebody see your weakness, right? And we were told to put on this facade. And then for years, we put this facade on, but inside, man, we were breaking apart. And I'm not saying that we need to go. I still think there is some, raising a young king myself, man, there are times where I'm just like, boy, you better pull it together. You gotta get together. But there's also a place where you have to let him acknowledge the fact that this is how he feels, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? This is how you feel. I'm going to let you sit in this for a little bit because you need that moment. But once you're ready, let's keep on moving, right? Like, I mean, that's realistic, And I'm blessed, man. I have a wife who, I mean, she honors that, right? She really respects that. It may come as a shock to you, but I'm the one who is a little more emotional and out there.
No, not you, Mike. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
I'm not lying, man. There's sometimes I'm like, I think you're the dude in this relationship, and I say that jokingly, like, be careful about that. But the point is that she is very I always thought, I get mad at her sometimes because I'll be ready to, like, I'm an Aries. So you're a May baby, I'm an April baby, and I'm an April Aries. So I'm fire sign all the way, man. And I go at it straight to 10. I'm like, roar! But then once I'm done with it, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go hang out. You remember the scene in Lean on Me when Crazy Joe and the superintendent, they were fussing at each other, and then after they finished fussing at each other, he said, what we getting for dinner? And he was like, bruh, that's how it is at our house, man. I'll be like, roar! And then all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, I'm hungry, let's go get something to eat. And my wife is sitting there, what was that? But I'm really blessed, man, because she acknowledges that, and she allows me. She doesn't emasculate me, she lets me be the man in our relationship, but then she also she pumps me up when I need to be pumped up. She allows me to have my moment, and I appreciate about her. And so I'm kind of blessed. So, I don't know if I could handle another me in the house, like just fussing all the time. Like, it just
right.
Yeah.
It is. That's huge. I mean, you can talk about the whole emasculating thing. That was a big problem, right? And then how you respond to that, because sometimes the only response we see is a violent one, right? Or one off the top, as opposed to a reflective one, or, hey, you know what? Or a boundary setting one, like, hold up, player. That ain't gonna fly. When those things I probably could have learned earlier in life, right? And now
Yeah.
you got to get to that point where you can say that's not going to work for me. This is
Yeah.
not fair. This is not equitable. I stopped saying, 50-50. That ain't ever true. I'll
Never.
go for equity. I go for equity stake. I want to be like Shark Tank. I want a 20% equity stake. I want my share, right? Because it fluctuates, right? It goes back and forth. It's never, like I'm out. I can't get my equity. I'm out. And that just
depends on the moment.
But it depends on the moment. It depends on the moment, right?
There's seasons where those things are going, and it's like there's seasons, right? And there's seasons where you're going to have that moment where. That's why I always cringe when people say, I gave what is it, Bel Air, the TV show Peacock, Bel Air remake of Fresh Prince of Bel Air, right? And they're talking about now the wife. She's like, now, the husband is like, I need my time because I gave you your moment, and now it's reversed. And I'm just like, man, that's a dangerous road to tread, because then that starts building up. You start having resentment, right? You start having that thing of like you're starting to second guess things. Like, man, if I had just done this, then look what I gave up, right? And so I think it's the seasons that you just have to lean into the season. And well, listen, I'm only 12 years into this game, so I mean, let's ask me in another 10 years. I may have some different insight.
Some definitely different experiences. That's what's up. No, absolutely. I mean, but that is critical. I mean, but again, I still think with where I believe that kings are in this conversation is that we are absolutely horrible at expressing who we are and what we want. Outside of the main things, I can tell you what I want, but I can't tell you why I want certain things because I don't know. And that's why I started this whole when the June issue dropped of the original, the OG version of OTB, the King version. And it was King, get your crown, right? And my girl, fix your crown, girl, fix your crown, fix your crown. I was like, hold the hell up. There are two people in this arena that got crowns, and the king is the other. Like, where the hell his crown at? Where is his crown?
Right.
We don't know. So I was like, bruh, let's go get your crown first. Let's go back and get it. We can worry about fixing it in a minute, but I need you to go back and remember some things, right? I need you to go back and remember what your daddy told you, remember what your mama told you, and remember how you work. You know what I'm saying? Until we get our crowns on, Mike, we can't be good kings. We cannot. We're horrible kings. We're the jesters. We ain't even a good junior king. So that's what king conversation was about to me. When God gave me that thought, it was about this type of conversation. How can I be a better king? Where is my territory? Where you promised me you would increase my territory. I got one whole question. Where's my territory?
Where is my territory? Yeah. And how do I act once I get into my territory? That's
once I get there. Right.
How am I supposed to act? I think back in the day, the cotillions. We all, I'm sure you participated in some of those things. I had to be a part of those things. You learn how to do etiquette and all that stuff. How am I supposed to act, right? And what does that look like? And then you add the piece of you add the fact that you and I kind of have this this little melanin thing that we have going on. That's a whole different ball game as well.
Whole different ball game.
Because now we're trying to figure out our place in the world that sometimes doesn't even look like it likes us, and so figuring out what that looks like, and then the standard that's set. What is the standard, and recognizing that. And I think that's important what you're doing, Mark, because there's some young kings that need to start learning that. I feel like we've gone away from that in this world of trying to be equitable, dare I say tolerant even. We've gone away from teaching folk how to really step into what they're supposed to step into. And I think that's important still. I think there's something for that. I'm all for protecting our queens. I'm all for it. But we're no help to them if we don't even, like you said, we don't know what we're supposed to do or how we're supposed to do it, or we're cool in who we are, right? Because more often than not, what is it? What did they call it? Oh, I see your topic here. That toxic masculinity thing, that's a big thing that comes up, right? And, where did that come from, right? So I could talk all day about that.
See, but that was the segue into the topic number one for this year. Topic number one. I talked about this a little bit last month because I had to. And Mike, I normally don't weigh in. People are like, Mark, what you got to say? Yeah, my mama watched the show. I don't really want to tell you how I feel about that because I'm gonna let it go. However, I did speak to it, and you kind of talked about. You did speak to a little bit. You know what I'm saying about the toxic masculinity and whatever. Yeah. And I still hold the position that for those who believed, or believe that getting up after, first of all, after Kiki and Ha-Han and looking at you and got that look like, fool, what you gonna do? Oh, I got this. And then you go do something extreme like that. The moment you got up out the chair or off the bench, it was no longer about you. It was about this. It was about you. It became completely about
something.
You.
It was about
so
something.
Anyway, that's talk about last month. So let's talk about after the slap, Mike. What now? What the hell are we gonna do? The slap has happened, the jokes, the things, whatever. Here come the red table, here come all the PR moves. Everybody's getting paid off of that, by the way. But what do we do now as Kings? We got to deal with this situation. What you say?
Well, first of all, we got to recognize that there is always a consequence for an action. So when you ask the question after the slap, what now? The consequences. Like that's it. The impact, right? The impact. It goes beyond what happened at the it's not the what theater is it now? It's not the, it's whatever it is in Hollywood, right? Where they did the Oscars. It's beyond that now. There's consequences, right? And there's fallout. And one of the things that I think that we have to remember is that there is a repercussion for what we do. And consequences are not always bad. They can be good, right? Consequence is one of those words that has a bad reputation, but consequences are just the results of an action, right? Regardless of what the motive was, what the inspiration was, you know, for the record, Sherella Dorsey would not have let me move beyond my seat. She wouldn't have, she would like, get him. Like she would talk to them, like, get him. Like, no, like, we're not doing this, right? We're not doing this. But there's a bigger thing. And I think that sometimes we have to start remembering, being so short-sighted. I honestly think that if we grew up a bunch of boys that can learn how to stop being so short-sighted, our crime rate would decrease dramatically. We got a whole bunch of guys who they're not understanding that there are repercussions that go beyond them, right? Bill Cosby, classic example, right? Nasty as all can get out, whatever y'all want to say, right? What, guilty or not guilty, that's some nasty stuff. Let's keep it real, man. I mean, if he really was it's like, wow.
Right.
And the fact of the matter was, you were Heathcliff Huxtable when that was going on, right?
It made me stop eating Jello Pop Jello. Jello Gelatin. I stopped it. Killed it.
But here's the thing. As a result of what he did, remember, it wasn't just a cast of him. You had all the kids who, by the way, I think they had like trust funds set, like they didn't get their money right away. Like they got it residually, so they still had their money or something like that. So what happened? For a while, Cosby Show was taken out of syndication. That was money they weren't getting anymore, right?
Right.
It was an opportunity for them to not shine that they were getting to shine. So beyond that, right? It goes beyond it. Like Will Smith, you know, I mean, man, you know, I don't know. I think that he's in a protected class where I think he's going to be okay. But there's other people who are impacted by the work that he does. Those little girls that he's protecting that did well, you know, in that played Serena and Venus, right? You know, Ingenue, who played his wife, like all those people that were impacted by his activity, right? It goes beyond just him. And I think that that's something that we have to start thinking about. But I think we do need to start answering the question of what would drive someone to lose their minds for a minute to do something like that. I mean, I think we have to start getting into that as well. After the slap, what now? After the slap, what now? Is start looking at, all right, what's really going on, right? What is at the core bottom of this thing that's going to drive me to just let everything go for this one little moment? So that's a couple pieces I have about it.
No, that's deep. That's deep. Again, right man for the right job, because you brought up some great points. I mean, he, again, in his narcissistic moment, snatched so much. Say what you want about Vincent's daddy, Joe number 2. You snatched that for him too, because you know what? In that moment, he raised his kids incompetent. I want y'all to raise y'all kids in your repertoire and see how you come out, and have to go into those places and be that dude to get your children's rights. I mean, we all say we would do this for our kids, right? Do I agree with everything? No. Do I agree with everything my daddy did? Absolutely not. But given how things turned out for them, that's what he had to do. And so, but you took that moment for him and his daughters and made it all about you, bro. All about you.
When you kept saying that it was about them. You kept saying it was about them. Like, you actually said that. You said it was about
Lies.
them. So now it's like,
Lies.
all right, well, where's your credibility?
It's shot. It's done. I mean,
Yeah.
credibility is done. And I like the phrase used, but the protected class. Yeah, we're gonna pause this movie and then wait till it dies down and then bring it back out. And they're gonna, I mean, the immediate the after effect. Chris Rock sold out every doggone where. Like he was doing okay. He crushing.
He's doing real good, man. He killed it here in
real.
Baltimore.
Yeah, he killed it. He's coming. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's for me, Mike. Though the after slept now what? And I said this last month. I wanted to see the same energy on the reconciliation side. I want you to now show my young kings and my other kings when you F up, you got to go back and fix it.
You got to go back and fix it. Own it and fix it.
You got to own it. And it may never be repaired fully, but you got to make that effort to make the effort because we're watching, kids are watching like, so I can get away with this? Just like in the movies. I can shoot that, he going to get up, right? No, fool, they're not getting up.
No.
I can slap somebody and do it and then whatever. No, you can't.
No.
There was Chris Rock kept him from going to jail.
Man,
he followed
he's the one that kept.
He followed the G code and took it. Didn't snitch. Nope, not doing it. But there will be some this further discussion. And that's the kind of thing. So for me, the now what is okay. So people like us, Mike, and men like us, kings like us, have to keep having this conversation because these young dudes are watching this and they already out here lost. They already off another space thinking that's good. And then we also got the young sisters who believe that was the right thing.
Yeah.
Because that's what they've seen. That's right. She said what? And don't get me going. And that is not the right thing because you ain't them. You don't have to call the police. If that had been anybody else happen, arrests were happening regardless of who said don't press no charges. Going down because of the color of your skin. I'm gonna just say what I just said. It happened quick, fast, in a hurry. So for me, the now what is, can we get back to the other side of the healing and learning and growing? That's the part of being grown. That's the part of being a king. Yeah, we made a mistake. We're gonna make mistakes. That was an epic one in front of billions of people. You may not have the opportunity to make an epic mistake in front of millions of people around the world, but you did it in front of one.
Yep.
And that's going to affect a bunch of kids and people around the world. So we need to get that fixed. So for me, that's that. Topic number 2, the level up. The level up. Do you have to leave, folks, Mike? Dr. Mike, Headspace Mike. When I'm talking, what I'm referring to is we're supposed to be getting better, right? Better than yesterday. Me, chanting all the time. Better than yesterday. Get off the bench. Everybody ain't better than yesterday. Everybody not getting off the bench. Do I wait for them?
Wow.
What you say, Mike? What do you say, Mike? Do I wait for them?
You know what? To a certain point. Like there comes a point where I think I said this a little earlier. I can't want it more than you. And at some point, it starts. This is hard, man, because I'm at a place now where I all right. So let me say this. Every year, about the week before my birthday, the week after my birthday, I actually go through and I do a purge, right? And I go through like the expectations that I've set myself for the year. That's like my New Year's. Instead of me doing it New Year's Day, I'm doing it around my birthday. And I go through and I start saying, all right, these are the expectations I set for myself this year. What did I hit? What did I not hit? Then I start, what am I going to do for the next year, right? And the other thing I do is, this is long before Facebook and stuff was like in our phones. I would go through my phone book on my phone and just start erasing numbers. And I asked this question: has this person made a positive contribution to what it is I believe God is calling me to do in my life? Or have they kind of been a distraction or a hindrance from what I'm trying to do? And my friends list, now that we have Facebook and stuff, I do that with Facebook. My friends list goes down a little bit because I have to start asking that question and I have to start protecting my airspace, right? You know, we both live near the nation's capital, and that area where the president and the senators and the representatives are and all that, those big government buildings, there's protected airspace, right? And if anything goes in that airspace, it can get shot down in a matter of seconds, right? There's under no circumstances is anything allowed to enter that protected airspace. We have to start treating our lives that same way. I have to protect. But I'm not trying to be churchy here, but you got to protect this anointing. There's an anointing that is placed on your life.
It's Reverend Doctor, by the way. It's Reverend Doctor. Go ahead.
You have to really protect that thing because, the Bible says that. I'm sorry. I know this.
No. This is King Conversation. I need all of it, Mike. I need all of it.
The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now think about what that means. Steal, kill, destroy. That's malicious. That's felonious.
Oof.
Right? You go to jail for life. You lose your life sometimes for killing. The devil wants to do that to you. And so what that says to me is he's going to use whatever he can to destroy you. And more often than not, he uses people.
Right.
I'm just saying. And so we let this, and we call it, people that don't want to acknowledge the Lord, they call it energy. Well, you let this energy near what you're trying to do, is going to cancel out some things. So there comes a point where I have to start asking this question: what role is this person playing in what I'm trying to do in my life, right? And now I don't just cancel people like just they do one wrong thing, bam, it's over. I'm gonna have a conversation with you because I have relationship with you. I want to make sure you understand that before there was this, we had relationship. But if there comes a point where it's like you're not even honoring the relationship that we have, because see, more often than not, Mark, the ones that we have to like leave folks behind are the ones who they're actually being disrespectful to us, right? They're the ones that are kind of, in my opinion, now I could be wrong on this, but they're the ones that, there's a standard that they know that you're trying to live up to, and they're still, in spite of the standard that you're trying to set, they're still trying to keep that mess around you. There comes a point where it's like, you're not even trying to honor what I'm trying to do, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and cheer you on from a distance, right? I'm gonna have to still keep praying for you.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure that you know how to get me, right? I'm not gonna just close them off and say you'll never be able to find me. But at the same time, there's protected airspace that I just have to protect, man. And I don't know if that's just because I'm getting older now in my life. I've seen some things, or what. But I think I've just seen so much gunk get us jammed up, man. That I'm gonna give you a chance before I leave you.
Right.
But at the same time, I have my health coaches. I have to give them a shot. Rodney and Leslie. Ryan and Leslie. I have to, I'm not always doing what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm not. They're my health coaches and my business coaches. Shoot, Mark, I'm gonna say this about you. Like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do all the time, right? And at the very least, though, I answer your calls. When I know I ain't doing right, I'm still gonna answer your calls. Right.
right.
And I try my best to own what role I play in it. If you're doing that with me, I can rock with you. I'm not gonna leave you because you're at least showing me that you're trying. There's a struggle. But if like I'm calling you and you're not trying to answer, if I'm making myself available and you're just ignoring me, at that point I have to just let you go because I have to put that energy somewhere else that's going to be more productive. Because here's the thing. And this is the part I want to make sure everybody hears. You may not be ready for where we're going right now, and that's okay. Your bags may not be packed for this trip.
Okay. Come on, preacher. Preacher.
You may not have to spend the money to really be able to go on this vacation like this. We trying to go on this 7 days, 6 nights, illustrious, exclusive cruise on this yacht. You're not ready for that yet. Like you just trying to do a weekend in Williamsburg, and that's okay because you can still have a good time in Williamsburg. No shade to Williamsburg, but that's not where you're at yet, and that's okay. I'm here when you're ready to move into the next thing, but we got to keep this moving because I can't hold myself back too much longer because there's things that I have a date with destiny as well, and that's something that we got to pay attention to.
And that's beautiful. I love it. You definitely hit some key pointers. And the reason I brought this topic up is usually most stuff, Mike, if I'm bringing it up, I'm probably dealing with it. Is my new business partner is having this. We had this discussion today, right, about the come up and he's moving up, and there's certain things that did before, the OG code, I'm gonna leave people behind. I gotta. And meanwhile, his team, his counsel's like, bruh, we can't do this now. That you're getting too large. This is gonna detract. This is gonna take away. And what I had to counsel and coach on was like, where's their responsibility in all this? They're responsible for this. They grown. They're making their own decisions. You provided opportunity. They do not choose to come. They're not willing, the word of the year, to come with. And at some point, you're going to self-destruct yourself, and they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Here I'm coming out to swim to get you. If you know, if you don't come from behind and knock somebody out, guess what happens? You're dead. And they're going to say, I'm glad I made it out of here. Where they went to save me. I didn't even notice. And that's kind of what this is. And it's not even have to leave people behind. And leave is, like you said, we like with consequences. We think, always negative. Leave is not negative. I'm going to just let you simmer. I'm going to pray for you. And when you're ready to come, I'm going to come back for you. I'll guide you. I'll be your Sherpa. But you have to be willing to come. I'm not dragging mugs anymore. I can't drag anyone. I told someone today, I said, if you're not rolling with me, I'm going to have to let you stand where you are. I got enough problems trying to keep my own focus together. The word about whether you're coming. So yes, it is detrimental at some point. It is a detriment to your growth if you don't leave people where they are. And again, because at some point they're going to make the decision to come forward. And when they do, come on, let's roll with it. And if you don't, that's fine too. And I think that was a growth moment for me, Mike, is that I was like offended that dudes didn't want to roll with me. How could you not? How could you not? I almost forgot I was going to be in my show. I'm about to say, I was really going to say, it's okay, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got it. I'm not even offended anymore. I would go home and be like, y'all still do? Come on, let's do this. And like, you know what? I still love you though. Yeah. What you're not going to do is have me revert. I revert to so many other areas of my life, or backsliding for those who go to church, and so many other areas of my life. I don't need to do this one. This one I got this one. Let me get the rest of these areas of trouble and keep moving forward, because that's the whole idea. We got to keep moving forward. So I think on a level up again, and I heard this too, is like, you're trying to help people along. Listen, you can only coach people and help people up to the level that you are. That's right. I can't coach you above me. So I got to keep going. So I can, when you are ready, I can give you some guides. I can give you some insight and help coach you to your next level, whatever it may be. It still may be where I am, but I can help you get to your next level. But I cannot level you to where I am or above where I am. That's like, I was like, ooh, that was like groundbreaking right there. I was like, you know what? Yeah. But that's why we keep learning. And that's why King's got to keep having conversations with other people who challenge us. Like you said, you called me, Mike, that one day to talk, bruh. I sat down in Staples like it was a mobile office. I was there in that chair, leaned back. He's like, Marcus, what you doing? I'm in Staples, man. Just go ahead. I'm sitting here in a chair. I mean, somebody walked in me. I'm like, I may buy this chair, fool. I may buy this chair. So leave me alone. 45 minutes later, I'm still talking to you in the chair like I had nothing else to do that day. That's how we roll, man. That's how it works. That's how we roll. But you, like you said, people aren't giving you back some kind of effort. And you know what? You got to make the decision for you if you're trying to keep leveling up too. Got to kind of leave some people where they are. And on top of that, look, you got to start. It's something now. What I will say is that there are a lot of players. There are actually a lot of coaches that sometimes they're better at coaching than they were as players, right? And so one of the things that I think that also too is it's easy when I'm in the middle of it to look at what somebody else is going through, but then not to see it in myself. And so that's why it's also important that we surround ourselves with others who are helping us to elevate us, helping us to grow and to see something bigger as well. That's what I appreciate about you. That's what I appreciate. I mean, shoot, all the cats that you talked about that we got to conquer the world without speaking, with making an account and stuff like that, man. That right there in itself is a classic example of how you put yourself in a posture of allowing other people to see something in you that you may not necessarily see because you're in it. It's just, you're in it. Like, so you're in it sometimes, you don't necessarily always see the good, the bad, and the ugly in it because you're in it, right? You're in it. But then that's why God allows us to have some others who are outside of us who can actually look at it and see where we're at and kind of help take us as well. And I think that's just as important too, that we have someone who's doing that for us. Because sometimes it gets lonely, right, man? If you're the one that's always trying to pull other people along and stuff like that, meanwhile, you're trying to pull yourself along. And then it comes a point where you realize, well, who's trying to pull you along? Who's holding you up and observing some things. And I think that that's something that we have to make sure we're putting ourselves in a posture as well to be coachable. And I think that's important. Yeah, that's a good King message right there. You be willing to be coachable, right? You got to be willing to do something. You be willing to change, willing to start, willing to go wherever. So That's why we have these conversations. Topic number 3, message to the graduating kings. You know, I missed the stage, and at this point, I had a flashback to MIC. You know, we go and impart all this wisdom all over the country, and I've done some graduations. I'm sure you have as well, and those are so much fun. Like, you know, just making it do. But I'm watching stuff now, and I'm watching certain things. Definitely watching the sports and, you know, the championships and stuff, the playoffs, and I notice there's a lot of mixed messages, Mike. I get these mixed messages, and I think it's a problem for our young kids coming out, right? What does success really look like, and who's defining it for you? And like I said, if I give you the power to define my successes, I also give you the power to define my failures. And so we're gonna tear somebody up. KD, the greatest player on the planet, that MF can't make a layup. He's horrible. When did that change?
Right.
When did it change? Because he didn't win. He got 2 rings. You know what I'm saying? James Harden is who we thought he was.
Yeah,
he is the reason why these teams blow up. And here's a funny side note: the 3 Bamas out of OKC, every team they've gone to have imploded.
Yeah, that's true.
Since they've gone away, since they left the triumphant, they've all gone places. Everything has gone down. Houston, done. LA, done. The New York, the Nets, done. Everywhere they go, done. So I'm thinking it's more them than everybody else, but I think our young kings see that and see the glitz, the glam, and whatever. I'm concerned that they're missing the point, because you let these fools determine what it is. By the way, you can call James Harden what you want to call him. He got a bigger check than you do. He's still getting paid. Kyrie Irving, bless his whole heart, played 6 games in the last 3 years. Still got a bigger check than you. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't affect your life, but it affects me, because I'm like, they just talk about folks, and then I go, well, you know what? You gave them an opportunity to talk about you. Yeah. And then we put those effects. So anyway, as a side note, I would now like to give you the platform, drop a couple of hot seconds, hot minutes to give our young kings who are graduating some of that Dr. Mike headspace wisdom as they move on to the next level, and go.
Well, you know, I'm going to tell you something, fellas. One big thing I want to make sure that you all do is take time to smile. Right. And you may be saying, what in the world do you mean by smile? Take time to smile when you're moving into this next stage in your life. Whatever you graduate from kindergarten, graduating from 5th grade, graduating from 8th grade, graduating from high school, graduating from college, graduating with your post, you know, your master's, your doctorate, whatever it is that you're graduating from. Take a few minutes to smile. Right. As you're moving into this next stage in your lives, there are 5 keys that I want to make sure that you pay attention to when you're smiling. The first one is see who you are, right? At the end of the day, what you want to do is make sure that you take inventory of what it is you're bringing to the table, right? What is it that makes you good? What is so special about you? Where did you come from? What are the things that are you would consider your biggest strengths? What are the things you would consider your greatest weakness? And there's no right or wrong to this. This is just what it is. I remember back in the day, I used to, in high school, we had a school store. And one of the things our advisor made us do was every other Friday, we had to take inventory. And we were like, man, why do we got to do this? And she said, the only way to know how much money we're making is if we take inventory. We got to know with what we're starting with. We got to know what resources we have at our disposal, so that way we can have an idea of how much we're really selling and how much money we're truly making. In order for you to make it to the next level, you got to know what you're taking with you. So make sure, first of all, you see who you are. The second thing is you got to find a mentor. I don't care what it is that you're trying to do. You want to make sure you have a mentor. A mentor is someone who can guide and counsel you as you're trying to move into what it is you're trying to move into. And it's okay that you have different mentors. I have a speaking mentor. I have a couple of business mentors. I have a professional mentor in what I do for a living as part of my day job. I have a preaching mentor, a couple preaching mentors. I have different mentors in different aspects of my life. And these are people that I know that they're going to tell me what I need to hear, even though I don't necessarily want to hear it. But here's how it works. First of all, you got to be honest. The second thing is you got to be open. And the third thing is you have to be willing. You got to be honest about what's going on, what's not going on. You got to be open to the possibility that you may have been doing it wrong. You got to be open to the fact that there are some other ways that you can go about it. And you got to be willing to make the leap, to make the stretch, to get where you need to go, even if it's uncomfortable. Then here's the third thing. You see who you are, find a mentor. You got to imagine your life. Start figuring out what exactly am I trying to do. There's a great quotation I love. It says this. It says, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Whenever I think of that, I think about going to the grocery store with no list on payday, and I'm hungry. Everything looks good. Oh my gosh, everything looks so good. It looks like it's so. I mean, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make that. I have all these possibilities. This money is burning my hole in my pocket. But then my eyes were bigger than my stomach. Well, my stomach was bigger than I don't know. It's something, right? I've realized, you know what? I'm tired. And on my way home with all these groceries and all these things I got from the grocery store, I ended up stopping at Burger King for something because I kind of overestimated the time and the ability that I had in that moment, right? I didn't have a plan. At the end of the day, if you don't have a plan where you're going, you're just going to be going around aimlessly in circles sometimes or back and forth, but you're not really moving forward progress. So you got to make sure you are imagining your life. Where are you going to be a year from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? What are the things that you want to do? And while you're doing it, the L stands for live your dream. So once I know where it is I want to go, with my mentor alongside me, I'm going to start living this thing out, right? Let me tell you something. In my closet, there are clothes that will only go to a certain size in my closet, right? So if I'm ever at a point where I start gaining weight again, there's only but so far I can gain because I'm not going out buying any new clothes. And what that says to me when they start getting a little tight and all that stuff, it says I need to start. You ain't gonna have no clothes, and you know it's illegal to walk around naked. So in some places, I guess, and yet the world don't want all this, right? So you know, I gotta live my dream, right? I gotta start living it out. I gotta start living as if I am 150 pounds lighter, right? I'm smaller than what I was when I started, but I got to start living it out. What that means is there's some folk you got to start letting go. There's some folk who are just in the way. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. And it's okay that they're not going to get it because you're at different places. They've been at that point in your life, and now it's time for you to move on. And that's great because you get to get new opportunities, new people, you get to see new things. So you start living those things out. And last but not least, you evaluate and evolve. You start evaluating, what is it that I need to do? Am I relevant to where I'm trying to go? And based on that evaluation, you start making the changes. But at the end of the day, you still get to be who you are, but you're improving and you're being relevant to where you're at. Look, this cell phone that I have right here, it was outdated. This is you Apple people may get mad, but this is a Samsung, what is this, a Galaxy S21, I think this is. And it's already outdated. There's the 22 and the 23 is on the way. And 5 years from now, it's really going to be outdated unless I put some updates in it, unless I make sure that I get some upgrades to it or upgrade the phone, right? Because I want to be relevant to where I'm trying to go. But I'm gonna promise you this: the phone that I got the first time I got a cell phone back in 2000, it wouldn't even work now. Why? Because it's so outdated. It's not relevant. It doesn't even, the network that it was on doesn't even exist anymore. How do you expect that if you don't evaluate and evolve along the way? At some point, you're going to be outdated. You're not going to be necessary. And you're not going to be able to be relevant to what it is you're trying to do. And so you want to make sure you're doing that. So next time, remember, smile. A smile is a sign of confidence. A smile is a sign of competence. And a smile is confirmation that you are in control of your circumstances. Remember this, everybody. The magic begins with a smile. Congratulations, and I wish you all the best. Crazy.
See, this right here is why you should never go follow great behind great speakers. You can't. What you don't know is Mike teaches public speaking in college. He's a college professor, Dr. Reverend, teaching motivational speeches. And you think that was good? You should hear him preach. I'm just simply saying, my dude, you crushed.
You were one of my coaches, man. So I blame you for some of this, man. I blame you for some of this.
Well, bet. Let me get my turn. All right, listen, let me give you some things. Hey, first of all, congratulations to you for getting where you are. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, exhale. Now, that's over. It's over. But is it really over? Like, you did all this work. You stayed up all those nights. Maybe you didn't. You got the work done. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you just got here. Maybe you're not sum cum laude, lottie-dottie, and everybody. Like, you just happened to be in the room like I was. I graduated almost last in my class, not because of my GPA, but because of the letters in my name. But the GPA wasn't as strong as it could have been, but it was the best I could have done, right? But what I got to recognize and realize that no matter what it was that I was working on, that wherever I was at that moment was not the final stop for me. The dream was to go play college basketball. The dream had been fulfilled. I'm going to play college basketball. Now, albeit I went there on crutches and graduated on crutches and morphine, and I told I had a good time at prom. I don't remember, but nonetheless, I was there. I got pictures to prove it. But what I got to recognize too, after I finished that moment, after we got to the graduation, after the cookout and the envelopes with money, the next step was rehab for me. But then I got to college, and I'm like, okay, what is next? And so right now, I'm going to encourage those who are graduating, young kings out here who are graduating. Either you're going to college or trade school or the service or whatever, or you're starting your job, your career, or you're trading Bitcoin. I don't particularly care as long as you go do something next, but I got something for you this evening. I have, as you know, I got 3.5 things. And to tell you that I wish somebody had told me. I wish somebody had told me some more things when I graduated high school onto my next level, whatever it may be. I'm not assuming everyone's going to go to college, because rest assured, it ain't for everybody. And the way these bills are running now, there's maybe not something you want to play with. You need to be 100% sure this is what you want to do, but you do need some further education. Let's go. Number one, this is the commencement. It is the beginning, not the end. You finish one thing, but you're fixing to start something else. You've commenced the next step of what it's got to be. Hopefully you got your dreams and goals together. If you're not, you got about a couple of weeks before Mother's Day to get something on paper. Where are you going? What are you going to do? Nothing worse than talking to a young person that has no vision or dream to the next level. I'm just trying to exist. Yeah, I'm concerned for you. I'll pray for you because you need something better than your life. So everybody say better. You need something better to go do. And you can do it. It's not like you don't have the skill set. You got it. So it's the beginning, not the end. Don't get too comfortable. Number two, this is a tough one. I'm sure you probably heard this. If you got a parent or an elder or a guiding somebody or a Sherpa in your life, nobody cares. I know that was kind of harsh. Nobody cares. Excuses. When I pledged Kappa, there was a phrase we had to learn. Excuses are the tools to incompetency. Those who use them build monuments of nothingness and seldom amount to anything. Say that few 400 times a night. Excuses are the tools to incompetence. Nobody cares that my mama didn't wake me up so I can get to work on time. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're feeling sick today and you got to get in and get this job. Nobody cares. So stop looking for sympathy and empathy in areas that nobody cares. And more importantly, stop making yourself the receptor of those excuses. Oh, I feel bad. I shouldn't do that. I failed last time. I'm not going to try it. Nobody cares. Get the job done. Get on with it. Get to where you're trying to get to. Focus on it. And then we just talked about leveling up. This is where you kind of have to say to people that you know what, I got to move on, because you really don't care. Because if you cared about me, you'd be pushing me to where I want to go and say, why are you here? I flash back to the spot, Mike Dorsey. There's a spot right next to my house in Maple Heights, Ohio, that is still there to this day. And I will look out the window and want to be across the street and hang out with the bros that were doing their thing. Mad Dog 4040, I'm sure at that point in time. Now they're drinking, Cristal or whatever. I would go over to the spot and they were like, why are you here? Because I want to hang out. You don't belong here. Get back in the house before your daddy comes out the house and chases us off. I was crushed. In their own feeble way, they're trying to tell me I didn't belong there. But had I gone there and stayed there, nobody would have cared that I stayed there. You got to care. So don't be looking for other people to give you sympathy and empathy in places that you need to take control of right now in your next step. Nobody cares. Number three, be willing. My word of the year. At this particular point in your life, as you going out into the next step, and it's a nerve-wracking step. I had a whole coaching session with a young mentee about choices for college, and all I asked her to do was just be willing and open to the opportunity that may exist for you. You don't know fully what it is, but could you be willing just to try? Could you be willing just to give it a year? Because you do a whole lot of stuff for a year, and we don't know a year has gone past. You sat around and did no work for a whole year. And look what happened. Then you at the end trying to scramble. But be willing and open to something positive in your life, something new that will put you in a whole different plane. It may not come like you think it's going to come. It may come from a completely different source. But if you're unwilling to let go of some of the old stuff and you're unwilling to try some new stuff, then how will you ever get to where you want to go? I'm going to say it's going to be a struggle for you. It's going to be a struggle. So you got to be willing. Here comes the point 5, which is usually the number one point. Yeah, I can leave with this, but I want you to remember this particular point. Whatever you did to get where you are is not enough to keep you there. I would mic drop, but then you couldn't hear me. Whatever you did to get to where you are is not enough to keep you there. I left Maple Heights High School, one of the top players in the city, one of the top players in the state, you know, all conference, all this, all that. You know, I was that dude. I was that dude. I got the receipts. I went to the University of Alabama, Huntsville, got there. You was all state too? I didn't know they had more than one all-state player. I didn't know they had more than one all-conference player. How many conferences are there anyway? It's irrelevant. Whatever I did and all the work that I put to get to the Alabama Huntsville was not enough to keep me there. I learned that day one. You need to learn that now. It's cool you got there, but don't rest on your laurels. Like, oh, I'm here now. Don't exhale too long. Don't stay too long. Don't get too comfortable. You must continue to keep moving. Stay off the bench, right? Stay off the bench. Keep grinding. Be better than you were yesterday. The simple stuff. To my graduating class of 2022 Young Kings, I encourage you, I implore you to get the help. You've heard all this great information tonight. Keep moving. Dream big. Make your dream so big that it absolutely scares you that you could actually get this done, and then go do it. Tell the world one time what you're going to go do, and go do it. The naysayers will be your biggest fans later on. I knew that the whole time. I knew Benny was going to do that. No, the hell you didn't. You told me I wasn't going to be about anything. It doesn't matter. Anyway, all I got to say tonight. Mike.
Yes, sir.
Come back. So we are moving on to flowers and shout out. That was our graduation speeches. Y'all got 2 for the price of 1 tonight. So, yes. I got to bring the heat for behind Mike, though.
I appreciate that. That was good,
all right, Mike,
man.
right quick as we wrap this down. Thank you, sir. Wrap this down. Go ahead. Any flowers and shout outs you want to give somebody, some acknowledgments to let them know how much you care about them.
You know what? I just want to first of all, I just want to give a shout out to my boo, Shavela and Little Mike. Definitely want to give them a shout out just because they stands with me. So definitely want to give a big shout out to them. And I want to give a shout out to my former high school principal, Mr. Barry Williams. He was on my mind today, and I need to give him a call. I've been saying that I've been wanting to get him to kind of mentor me a little bit, so I just want to go ahead and give him a shout out. And then, of course, you know I have nothing but love for you and all of our Making It Count crew. So just want to give a lot of shout out and love to all of y'all folk, wherever y'all are, making the world a better place.
Thank you. My flowers and shout out go to, I got so many stories about Huntsville, Alabama, and the one that stands out the most is when I showed up to Alabama. I went up to the steps, and it was this big old country boy standing there. He didn't say much of anything. Little did I know, he was all-state. He was a 3-time state champion and won basketball and football. He said maybe 4-6 words all the time.
Wow.
We became roommates. We actually moved in together, had the best time, watched out for one another, just grew, had that king thing going on as a teammate. He was a worker, dude. He was a worker. And Thomas Jones is that dude. Thomas Jones, I just got a call the other day, and I didn't know he had it in him. Lies, he did. Talking about he just got his PhD. He is now Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones. He's in education. He's a principal. Man, again, the guy who never really talked went into education. I was like, bro, you don't gotta kind of talk, right? Principal, run the school. They love him. Got his PhD. I got the call like, Mark, you got to come down. They call me Wiggy. Only a few people call me that. Wiggy, you got to come down. Thomas, I said, I'm coming. May 21st, I'm going to Huntsville for whatever they got going on to see my dude. So shouts out to you, Thomas, for doing that. I'll also, as though it pains me, I will shout out you and your new fraternity of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Okay, all right, I said it. But congratulations on making that choice to the Greek world. Yeah, you watched me walk through my journey back in the day. You were right there. Didn't necessarily understand it. Hell, neither did I. But we have been friends ever since. So appreciate you on that. Shouts out to Thomas Jelly Bean Jones. All right, now it's time for King's Decree. This is the part of the show we give that last piece of law encouragement to everybody, because once you say it, I will declare it to be so. Mike, what is your decree?
listen, God has a plan for you. God has something that's been designed for you. He has it ready for you. The key is time for you to step into it whenever this time is. Make sure you abide by the process, though. Process is a series of events that must take place in order for one big event to happen. But at the end of the day, once you go through the process, it is yours to step into. Go ahead and walk in it, and walk in it proudly. That's my decree.
So it is written, so it is so. I am for my King's decree. Here's what I'm simply saying to you all today. Listen, if you ain't gonna bet on yourself, then why you even at the table? Why are you trying to participate in something if you're not gonna put the chips in on yourself? If you don't feel like you can, then I say to you this evening, go get the help and support you need to bet on yourself, right? Make yourself better. Avail yourself. How about that one, Mike? Right. Avail yourself to coaching, training, mentorship from wherever it comes from. I got some of the greatest training from younger kids who are younger than me, just by the questions that they ask me or what they do. So my decree to you today is go out and make sure you're available for yourself to bet on yourself and get the help you need to be as great as you can be. Amen. It is written and it is so. All right, Mike, appreciate you so much. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and your show and all that so we can make sure we log that in.
Sure. Make sure you can follow me on most social media platforms. I am Mike Dorsey at I am Mike Dorsey, and you can also find Headspace at Headspace DM at Headspace DM. Check us out on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern time for the live show, and then you also can find the podcast on starting at Sunday at midnight following the live show. Make sure you check us out, and I look forward to seeing y'all.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. As always, I leave you with this final statement. If you can reach your dreams with a step ladder, then they're probably too low. I'm out.